Hooray! I'm Melanie. Welcome again to our YouTube channel. I miss this. I miss a sit-down video. We've been uploading videos about our program in home daycare and my homeschooling with my children. And this video is very useful for parents and providers. This is gonna be a interview questions that I have for you. It will be helpful. And if you are interested, continue watching because we are gonna start right away.
Hooray! I'm Melanie.
I'm Rowena.
And we are the Childcare Gurus.
Before you interview families, you should tell them these two basic information about your daycare. First, you need to tell them your hours of operation. Second, you need to tell them your services rate so that they can decide if they want to pursue the interview. Okay? Then they said yes, they're okay with your hours of operation and your services rate, then you can pursue the interview. But before you pursue the interview, you should send them your parent handbook if you have any. Okay, make sure you send it beforehand, before the interview, so that they have already information about your program and services. Okay, let's start with our questionnaire for infant interview. Okay, let's start with infant interview. Make sure you have your pen and your paper, and let's start with our question 1 and 2 are related, so I will be reading them both and explaining why. For some of these, I will be explaining why you should be asking this. They're very helpful to know with in interviewing families. Okay, so first question is, has your child been in daycare not provided by family before? If so, why are you seeking elsewhere, or why are you seeking care elsewhere? Asking this question will help you distinguish if why this family needs care if they're already in the daycare, right? Some families, they will answer because of our availability, changes of our schedule, the moving up into toddlers, infant to toddlers, these questions, and so that you get some references on their answers, and that way you will know too if this child has an experience of being with a crowd of children, or a child is not been with other children, so that you know how the transition for your part. If you need some help with these families before they start in your care, you should know this information. Okay, so let's move on to our number 3 already. How long do you expect to need child care? In this question, you'll have an idea of which families you're taking, because you need to think about your business too, right? If this family is just looking for 6 months or 9 months, and there's another families you're interviewing for looking for 1 year to 2 years of spot, then of course you need to think about that bigger picture, right? So that you don't need to interview when the family finish their contract in your daycare. It's really hard to find families quicker. So make sure you need to ask these questions right away if they how long they've been needing the care for. All right. So let's move on into our number 4. What do you expect from a daycare? Asking this question, you will know what this family's preference. Are they looking for a happy, energetic program, a daycare, safety, environment, or they're looking for one-on-one care with their children, or they're looking for something like being outside all the time. And there's a lot of, actually, I interview a lot of families and they have different preference and answer with this question of what do you expect from a daycare. But usual answer is that I got from them, of course, a safety and loving environment. That's the basic answer that I get from them, from all of the families that I interviewed before. So ask this question so that you have an understanding of the family's preference about having a um, a daycare for their children. How are you still doing there? Are you still interested with the other questions that I have for you? So number 7 is, does the child have an health issues? If a child has an health issues like seizure, like an allergic reactions to pets, to food, you should know these things. And number 8 is the infant immunization up to date? If it's not a problem for you that a child is not an immunized, if the child is not immunized, if it's okay for you as a provider, that's okay. But for my part, I want the child that I am taking in my home-based daycare to be immunized and their immunization are up to date. That's my preference. This is going to be differ. It will be differ in your part, okay, in the provider's preference. And next, let's move on to number 9. Do you have any special needs, requests, religious, personal dietary restriction? I had an interview in the past and they are not allowed to eat pork because they're Muslim. There's people, certain families that are not really. There's a child that can't really have dairy because they're lactose intolerant. There's families that are just eating vegan food. You should be asking these questions if you are providing snacks for them or lunch. Okay, these are questions for people that are providing for food and snacks. So next question is, where does the infant sleep? If the family you're interviewing has an infant child, you should be asking this question. Okay, where does the infant sleep? As if it's the child is sleeping on their bed together with the parent, or the child is used to sleeping alone in a crib. You should be asking these for the transition period. Okay, if a child can sleep well in a crib, then provide a crib for them in your home-based daycare. Okay, so next, move on into what is infant's current sleep and nap schedule. Nap schedule will be differ with a infant. Sometimes they don't sleep in a normal routine of a toddler. Sometimes they have two time they sleep 2 times in a row in the morning. So you should be asking these for your so that you'll be ready for your schedule. You need to adjust, or before they start in your home daycare, you should be working with the families that you are gonna take in to change their routine. Work on you before they start in your daycare. Next, let's ask for explain the child's eating habits. Are they picky? Are they adventurous? Knowing the child's interest for food and if they're picky or adventurous will help you for preparing food for them. So number 13 is the infant breastfed or on formula. If a infant is a breastfed kid, for my part, I'd like them to try bottle before going in my daycare, before they start being in my home-based daycare, because it's really hard if a child is still breastfed feeding and doesn't know to use bottle. It's gonna be a really hard part for you as a provider. So make sure you are ready for this if you are allowing to do that. But if not, make sure ask the families if they are willing to try bottle before going in your daycare. So let's move on into use cloth or disposable diapers. Asking these questions, you'll be surprised because not everyone is using disposable diapers. I had an interview before that families are using cloth, and I said, I really love them, but I can't. That's the only difference that we didn't end up working together because of their choices of using cloth. My daycare downstairs in the basement is carpeted. If a child is using a cloth, it's gonna be a lot of work for me, and I'm not a one-on-one provider. I have other children that I need to take care of, and I need to worry about, not just a one child, right? So I did not pick that family, but they do understand my 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 preference. So next question is the child potty trained? So these are questions relevant for toddlers. If the child is potty trained, it's not potty trained, ask the family if what are their thoughts on how to potty train. Do they potty train at home? If because here in my care I start training the toddlers when they turn 2 years old. So I start putting them in the potty, giving them books, um, reading them books too, singing them song. Sometimes I just leave them there for a couple of minutes, maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and ask them if they need me there. So that kind of tips that I can give you for potty training. But you need to ask the family if they're comfortable of you doing that potty training, and yeah, just ask the families because for my part, I love to train the children in their early age so that it is gonna be easier for me too if they will stay in my care for a long period of time. A child that knows how to do potty training is really helpful with the program. But if a child is already 3 to 4 years old and they still in their pull-ups, and they don't really like being in the potty, and they don't really know how to do it, it's really hard for your part as a provider. So for the parents here that are watching, I hope you are agreeing with me. Please, if you have a toddler already turning 2 years old, try something fun to put them in the potty. Train them, and it's a really rewarding experience as a parent when the child already doing this in their early age and they are doing so well. It is really rewarding. So please try it out. Just a suggestion. Additional questions that you just need if you're taking these families are what do parents do for a living? Are work schedule consistent or do they fluctuate? You need to ask if they're full-time, part-time, or seasonal workers, and then ask what is marital status of parents. Because the next question is, if not together, is there a custody agreement for the child? I haven't had any family in my care that share custody. Almost all of the parents that I had here in my care, they're all together. They are all married. So I haven't had any experience with it, but you need to ask so that you will be ready for the paperwork if they are sharing custody, and you need to interview this other family or other parent too. So you need to know the situation of their the custody. Okay? So number 24, will the child be here full time or part time? Asking this question is going to help you to choose if who's going to be good fit in your program and in your spot that you're looking for, if it's your spot is for full time or part time. Okay? So what hours are you needing care for? Asking this, you will distinguish is what time they will be dropping off their child and they will picking up their child. So you need to ask these questions. And do you understand our sick policy? Understanding a sick policy will go through into will fall into the parent handbook. So if you submitted or if you share the parent handbook to these families, they will know what is your sick policy. Especially in this pandemic, there's a lot of changes in the sick policy. So asking this is very, very important if they are agreeing or not in your policy, okay? And then 27, are you willing to agree to my holiday closure schedule? Asking this in my part because I have 2 weeks of non-paid holidays during winter and then during summer. So I should be asking the families that I am taking so that they have information and they have idea beforehand that I am having my vacations. So if families are not going to be able to accommodate it, you will know and you can decide for that answer. All right? And if ever they can or they cannot, you can work in their schedule. Maybe you can do something about it. You can change something if you really, really like these families. And lastly, the questions that you have to ask is, are they willing to sign a contract? Asking this is just a helpful things. The asking this is very helpful for both side if they're willing to sign a contract, since they have the information. You already told them what is your services all about, the program that you shared to them with your parent handbook. And if they're willing to sign a contract, that is awesome. So if they're not, I don't think they're a good fit in your daycare. So asking all of these questions will help you decide of who's the perfect fit in the dynamic of your program and in your home-based daycare or in your daycare. So I hope you like this video. If you do, make sure to give this a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. If you have suggestions or requests of any videos that you want us to film regarding parenting and provider DIYs and everything that goes in our niche or content, let us know. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again next time. Hooray! I just want to include this tip for you. Just a piece of advice, since I've been in this business for almost 4 years, 3 to 4 years now. Um, Make sure you trust your gut. Trust your instinct in choosing the family in your care. Thank you.